The cold of space had a way of making him feel small. Among the endless stars and the yawning black of uncharted sectors, the human felt like a single heartbeat in a sleeping giant. He had always preferred it that way. Loneliness had a clarity that people on crowded worlds rarely understood. His name was Iran, and he was one of the last humans who worked in what others called the forgotten sectors. He repaired old relay stations, maintained abandoned satellites, and sometimes, rarely, explored ships that had been lost for decades. Humans in most alien eyes were weak, emotional, fragile, driven by something called empathy, a trait that most species considered a waste of energy. But Iran had learned that being human also had its advantages. A human could think differently, act against protocol, and make choices that no other species would dare. It was this trait that had kept him alive through years of drifting alone in space. On this particular day, he was en route to Station K-119, a relay hub near a quiet asteroid belt. The station had been silent for months, and his orders were simple: check the systems, repair the communications array, leave. No risks, no surprises. But space had a way of ignoring orders. As his ship approached the station, a faint signal blinked on his console. At first, he ignored it. Strange signals were common in these sectors: corrupt broadcasts from long-dead civilizations, interference from meteors, or automated warnings left behind for nothing at all. But this one was different. It was a voice, soft, trembling, and almost human in its emotion. "Please help me," it said. Iran's hand froze on the control panel. He blinked at the screen, then replayed the signal. There it was again, clearer this time. "Please help me. I'm trapped. I don't know how much longer I can survive." Every rational part of him screamed that it could be a trap. Other species might have left him to die. The message could be a lure, a trick designed to draw him in so they could claim another human. Protocol demanded caution, distance, and sending a report. But humanity was not known for following protocols. Iran's heart pounded as he altered his course. The station waited silently ahead, dark and cold, its outer lights flickering weakly. He docked carefully, the hum of the airlock echoing in the empty bay. The silence of the station was almost suffocating, broken only by the occasional hum of failing machinery. The distress signal led him down narrow corridors. Panels hung loose on the walls, sparks flickering briefly before dying. Dust motes floated lazily in the weak glow of emergency lights. It was clear no one had been here for decades, maybe centuries. And yet, the signal persisted. "Here," the voice said again, this time coming from deeper inside. It was weak, almost desperate. Iran's instincts told him to be careful, but something deeper drove him forward. Compassion, empathy, the strange human ability to care for someone he had never met. No other species would have entered the station. Most would have retreated, reporting only what they saw from a distance. But humans sometimes answered pleas for help even at great personal risk. The corridors narrowed, twisting into shapes that seemed almost impossible for any alien architect to have designed. The walls seemed alive, covered in symbols he couldn't read. They glowed faintly as he passed, pulsing with the same rhythm as his own heartbeat. Then the station shifted. The floor trembled lightly beneath him. Doors that had been open slammed shut behind him, and the lights flickered. Iran's chest tightened. He checked his console, all systems normal. There was no external reason for the station to react this way. "Please hurry," the voice whispered. He followed it into a wide chamber at the center of the station. It was massive, vaulted, and filled with strange machines that seemed to float in midair. Panels of glass displayed information he couldn't comprehend. At the far end of the room, the signal glowed brighter. And there she was. Not a person exactly, but a being of light, fragile and shimmering. She hovered just above the ground, trapped in a cage of strange energy. Her form was humanoid enough for him to recognize fear in her eyes, or what might be eyes. I don't know how long I've been here," she whispered. "They left me to die, but I was too dangerous for them to release." Iran stepped closer, his fingers brushing the energy field. It was warm, alive, humming with an intensity that made the hairs on his arms rise. "I'll get you out," he said, even though a part of him didn't understand how. Humans were not engineers of alien civilizations. He had never worked on energy cages like this before, but that was irrelevant. Humans didn't always wait for instructions. They acted. They tried. They helped. That was what defined them. He studied the panels around her, reading symbols and trying combinations that seemed logical. Every move he made, the cage pulsed, reacting. And then the worst happened. The station shuddered violently. A low hum became a roar, filling the chamber with sound that vibrated through his bones. The lights dimmed, then brightened, then dimmed again. Iran realized that the moment he had touched the cage, the station had recognized him. Something had changed. The alien, if she could be called that, looked at him with an intensity that was almost pleading. "I cannot survive without this," she said. "But neither can you. Not fully. You must understand that helping me will cost you more than you imagine." Iran swallowed hard. His mind raced. He had faced dangers before. Meteoroid storms, rogue AI, alien scavengers. He had survived. But he had never faced a cost like this, a choice that was entirely his own. "Tell me what to do," he said. Her light flickered, almost sad. "There is no manual for this. Only choice, only courage, only humanity." He didn't hesitate. He reached for the controls, touched the final panel, and the chamber shook violently again. Alarms sounded, not mechanical but something deeper. A presence, watching, judging. Iran barely had time to react before the energy cage opened, and the alien's light expanded, blinding and beautiful. The room filled with warmth he hadn't felt in years, the kind that reminded him of home, of family, of belonging. And then the station sealed itself. All exits closed. Every door, every corridor, every hatch. He was trapped inside with her. "Iran," the alien said, her voice echoing like 1,000 whispers. "You have chosen to help, and in doing so, you have already begun to pay the price." Iran's chest tightened, fear and awe battling inside him. He had no idea what was coming next, but he did know one thing: humans did not turn away from those in need. No matter the cost. The station trembled again, the lights pulsing faster, and a strange hum filled the air. Machines that had been dormant for centuries began to stir. The alien floated closer, her light brushing against him, and he realized the first part of the journey had begun, and he was already in the center of something far larger than himself. And in the darkness of the abandoned station, Iran understood, helping her would change everything. He had answered the plea, and the universe had noticed. The moment the cage opened, the station seemed to breathe. The lights pulsed like a heartbeat, and the walls vibrated softly under Iran's boots. For a second, he could not tell if the hum in the air was the station or the being before him. The alien's light glowed stronger, filling the chamber with a warmth that was both beautiful and frightening. "You freed me," she whispered. Her voice echoed, not only in the room but deep in Iran's mind, brushing against his memories like a gentle wind. But freedom comes with a cost. Iran's brow furrowed. He had helped people before. Humans had always acted out of empathy, even when the risk was high. He had repaired ships in storm clouds, rescued stranded travelers, and diffused malfunctioning systems that could have killed him. He had always survived. But now, a cold dread began to settle in his chest. He realized slowly that helping her might be different. "What cost?" he asked. His voice was steady, though unease churned beneath his ribs. The alien's light flickered like a heartbeat. "I am old, older than your species can imagine. My people, we once ruled vast sectors, but we were fragile in ways your kind cannot comprehend. Centuries ago, my own civilization imprisoned me to protect the universe from my power, and from myself. I have waited for a being with the capacity to care enough to release me." Iran's mind raced. He had been drawn here by a plea for help. He had followed a voice he barely understood, and now he realized the truth. He had been chosen, not because of strength, not because of skill, but because humans were capable of something no other species was willing to do: compassion, empathy, courage driven by care rather than calculation. "Why me?" he asked. "Why a human?" Her form shimmered. "Others would have calculated risk. They would have measured danger and walked away. You acted without thinking of yourself first. That is why you can release me." Iran swallowed hard. He wanted to ask what the cost would be, but the answer came before he could speak. The floor beneath him glowed, faint lines running along the chamber like veins of light. The station systems, long dormant, were coming alive, but not in the way he expected. The energy from the station was flowing into him, slowly at first, then stronger. A sharp warmth began in his chest, spreading outward. His limbs felt heavier. His vision flickered as if he were swimming in deep water. The alien's light hovered closer, gentle but insistent. "This is how it works," she said softly. "To free me, someone must share part of themselves. Energy, life, strength. Not enough to kill you usually. But it is not without consequence." Iran's mind spun. He could feel something leaving him, something vital. His heartbeat slowed, his muscles ached, and a haze clouded his thoughts. Yet he did not falter. Humans had faced worse without surrendering their hearts. He focused on the alien, on the glow that spoke of fear, loneliness, and the weight of centuries. I can do this," he said. His voice was low, trembling slightly. "If it helps you, I can do this." Her light expanded, surrounding him in a cocoon of warmth. "You may not survive unscathed. Few have, but few have had the courage to choose. Humans are different. You do not seek reward. You do not calculate gain. That is why I waited for you." As the energy transfer increased, Iran felt visions flash through his mind. Memories not his own. A civilization of light and thought, sprawling cities floating in the void, beings capable of creating life with a thought. And yet, despite their brilliance, he saw their downfall. Their empathy had been too strong. They could not control their own power. Their emotions had destroyed them. And now he understood. He was paying a price not just for freeing her, but for connecting with the weight of her entire existence. Pain, sharp but bearable, lanced through him. Not physical pain, something deeper. A tug on his spirit, as if a part of his very self was being shared, absorbed, rewritten. But humans endured. They adapted. They bore burdens heavier than most could imagine and still found a way to act with kindness. Iran gritted his teeth and focused. He breathed slowly, grounding himself in the one thing that had brought him here: empathy. The alien's glow shifted, responding to his strength. She had taken a piece of him, yes, but he also took something from her: understanding, a connection that no one else could comprehend. "You are extraordinary," she whispered. "Not in power, not in skill, but in heart. You do not yield to fear or calculation. You act because it is right. That is your gift." Minutes, or hours, he could not tell, passed in silence. The station hummed, alive with energies it had not known for centuries. The alien's form brightened, stabilized. He could feel the transfer slowing, settling, but it had changed him. Iran's vision swam. Colors seemed sharper. Sounds were clearer. His thoughts were different. Faster, deeper. Not stronger, but enriched. He felt alive in a way he had never experienced, yet weaker in another. His body trembled from the drain, but his mind was alive with awareness. The alien floated closer. "You have paid a terrible price," she said softly, almost sadly. "Few would have, and yet you remain. You are not destroyed, you are changed." Iran tried to smile but found it difficult. "Changed how?" She circled him, her light brushing against his skin. "Your species, humans, you survive in ways others cannot. You endure, you give. You choose. You are the first to release me, not out of ambition, not out of curiosity, not even out of fear. You did it because you cared." He nodded slowly. "Then I'll accept the price." She paused, and for a moment the entire station fell silent. Even the hum of machines seemed to stop as if listening. Then her voice, stronger now, filled the chamber. There is more than one way to pay Iran. Some lose life, some lose time, some lose memory. Some are never the same again. Your choice will define you. Iran realized she was not speaking metaphorically. His very humanity, the thing that had brought him here, was at stake. He could have retreated, left her trapped again, and survived untouched. But he could not. Humans did not leave others behind if they could help. I'll pay, he said again, steady despite the tremor in his voice. And so the alien touched him, not physically but through the shared light and energy. He felt a tug, gentle but unrelenting. Something left him, drifting into her glow, merging with her essence. Memories of home, of friends, of laughter and loss, small, precious things he had never thought could be shared, flowed into her. He gasped. Part of him wanted to pull back, but he did not. Humans endured. They bore burdens. They acted for others even when it hurt. The alien's glow stabilized, brighter than ever. She floated in the center of the chamber, her form now whole and radiant. But she looked at him, eyes, or what felt like eyes, soft and almost sorrowful. You have given more than I expected, she said, and yet you survive. That is the strength of your species. The universe will remember. Iran collapsed to one knee. His body ached, his vision blurred, but he felt alive, connected. He understood things he could not explain. Emotions, memories, wisdom of a civilization lost long before his people had even reached the stars. And in that moment the station shifted again. A presence stirred, alien observers from far-away sectors. They had detected the release. They came expecting a human foolish enough to enter the station, and they would find something entirely different. Iran looked at her and she smiled. Not a human smile, not exactly, but the warmth of understanding, of gratitude, of connection, radiated from her form. You've done more than free me, she whispered. You've shown what humanity truly is, and that is more dangerous than any weapon. The station trembled again, and Iran realized the true test had only just begun. Freedom was never simple, costs were never small. But humanity, the chamber, was alive now, humming with energy that seemed almost sentient. Iran struggled to stand, his legs trembling under the weight of what he had given. His vision was sharper, yet the drain from the alien's cage left a heaviness in his chest. He had survived, but he knew he was changed. Forever. The alien, now fully free from her cage, floated gracefully in the center of the chamber. Her form radiated light, casting long shadows on the walls. It was not harsh light, like a star, but soft and warm, illuminating every corner. Yet beneath the beauty, there was sorrow. Centuries of isolation and the burden of power had left marks on her consciousness that even she could not hide. You are different, she said, her voice echoing softly through the chamber. Not like the others who have come close. You endured what would have broken anyone else. You gave without hesitation, without calculation, without expectation. That is what your kind does best. Iran wiped sweat from his brow. I didn't think about what would happen to me. I wanted to help. Her light pulsed in response, almost like a heartbeat. And that is why you survived. Others would have turned away. Others would have calculated risk. But humans act because it is right. Not because it benefits them, not because it is safe, because it is right. That is why you are alive. Iran took a deep breath, trying to absorb what she was saying. His mind still felt foggy from the energy transfer, memories that were not his own flickering at the edges of his consciousness. He had glimpsed her past, her civilization, their triumphs and failures, and somehow in the chaos he had survived. Somehow his humanity had been the key. The chamber trembled again, softly this time, as if acknowledging his presence. The alien's gaze softened. You have given much, Iran, but there is something more. You must understand not just the cost of helping, but what humanity can give freely. That is your true power. Iran frowned. My power, I'm just a human, I'm not like you. I can't control energy like that. She shook her head gently. It is not about controlling energy. It is about what you gave without thinking. Sacrifice, compassion, courage. Those are the things no technology, no weapon, no intelligence can replace. Those are the things that define humans. He looked around the chamber at the machine still pulsing, the light still radiating. The station had been silent for centuries, yet here it was, alive again because of him. And the alien, her freedom, her awakening, had been possible because he had acted without selfish thought. You see, she said, floating closer, others will come, observers from distant systems. They will see what has happened here and judge it by their own rules. They will expect weakness, foolishness, mortality. They will not understand what it means to act with a pure heart. And yet that is exactly what you have done. Iran nodded slowly. Then, what now? The alien's light shifted, becoming warmer, softer. Now you rest, and I teach. You must understand that humanity is not weak. Your species survives in ways others cannot imagine. You endure what others cannot. You give what others will not. That is what the galaxy must see. That is what I will show them. Iran tried to rise, but the drain from the energy transfer left him leaning against the wall. He could feel the depth of the connection they shared. It was not physical, not entirely, but it was real. Memories, emotions, understanding, they flowed between them, unspoken but undeniable. As he rested, he realized something remarkable. The alien was learning from him as much as he was learning from her. She had lived for centuries, yet she was discovering aspects of human strength she had never encountered. Empathy, courage, sacrifice, the ability to endure and act even when the outcome was uncertain. You are teaching me, she whispered. Through your actions I see something my kind could never understand. Humans, you endure for others, not for gain. That is extraordinary. Iran managed a weak smile. I don't know about extraordinary, I just do what I think is right. Her light pulsed brighter. That is extraordinary. In a galaxy filled with calculation, power, and self-interest, the ability to act without expectation is rare. It is not weakness. It is strength beyond measure. That is what makes humans special. The chamber shifted again, almost as if agreeing with her words. The walls vibrated softly, the machines humming in harmony with her light. Iran felt a warmth in his chest, a sense of connection he had never known before. You will not be left alone, she said, her voice steady now, filled with purpose. Others will come, yes, but they will not see you as weak. They will see what I see. The galaxy will understand. Humans, you are capable of more than anyone ever imagined. Iran's mind wandered to the stars outside the station. He had always been alone, drifting from one forgotten sector to another, unnoticed, unimportant. And yet here he was, the catalyst for something much larger. He had acted out of compassion, and the universe had noticed. Do they know what you are? He asked, gesturing toward the glowing being before him. They do not, she said. They will soon, and when they do, they will see humans differently. You have changed the galaxy, Iran, simply by choosing to help. And that is what humanity gives freely. Iran took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her words. He had never sought recognition or reward. Humans were not known for ambition in the way other species were. They were known for endurance, for courage, for the willingness to act for the sake of others. And in this chamber, in this moment, he felt the truth of that legacy. The alien extended a hand of light toward him. There is more to come. Others will arrive. Observers. Those who will not understand your choices. But you must stand, Iran. You must show them what humans are capable of. Not through force, not through weapons, but through courage, through care, through the willingness to bear cost for another. Iran nodded, summoning what strength remained. The drain had left him weak, but his spirit was alive, fueled by the knowledge that his actions had meaning. He could not have imagined this outcome, and yet here he was, at the center of a turning point in the galaxy. Then I'll do it, he said quietly. I'll show them what humans can do. The alien's light shimmered in approval. Yes, you will, and through you the galaxy will learn not all power is strength, not all influence is control. Some of the greatest forces are the ones given freely, without expectation, without calculation. That is the gift your species offers. As they spoke, the chamber's systems continued to awaken. Machines long dormant began to function, lights stabilizing, panels glowing with alien symbols. The station, once a tomb of silence, was now alive with energy and purpose, and Iran, though weak, felt connected to it all. He realized something profound. Humans survived not because they were the strongest, not because they were the smartest, but because they chose to endure, to give, to act when it mattered most. That choice, the simple act of caring, was more powerful than any weapon, more enduring than any technology. The alien floated closer, her form wrapping him in a cocoon of light. Through you, I understand humanity, and through you I will teach the galaxy. But first, you must recover. Your journey is only beginning, and the challenges ahead will test your strength, your courage, and your heart. But I know you will endure. You are human. Iran closed his eyes for a moment, letting the light wash over him. He felt the bond between them, the shared energy, the understanding. He had paid a price, yes, and he would bear it for the rest of his life. But in doing so, he had also revealed the true strength of humanity, a strength no one in the galaxy could ignore. When he opened his eyes, the alien's gaze met his. Rest now, Iran, and prepare. The universe is watching, and the time for humans to show their true power is coming. Not through destruction, not through domination, but through courage, through compassion, through the willingness to endure and give freely. Iran nodded, feeling a sense of purpose he had never known. He had acted because it was right, because it was human, and in doing so, he had changed not just the fate of one being, but the perception of his entire species. And as he settled against the chamber wall, exhausted but alive, he knew one thing with certainty. Humans were capable of greatness. Not the greatness of conquest, but the greatness of heart. And the galaxy slowly would learn that truth. Iran sat against the cold wall of the chamber, still recovering from the energy transfer. His body ached, but his spirit burned brighter than ever. The alien's light pulsed gently nearby, a reminder of the bond that had formed between them. She floated freely now, unshackled from centuries of imprisonment, yet somehow grounded to him by the shared experience. The silence of the station was broken by distant hums and vibrations, ships approaching. Observers from neighboring systems, curious and wary, had detected the sudden surge of energy. They expected a human who had foolishly entered a dead station. They expected a trapped alien or nothing at all. What they would find instead would surprise them. Iran rose slowly, steadying himself. He was weak, yes, but he carried something far stronger than physical strength: understanding, empathy, and courage. The alien watched him with a mixture of admiration and concern. "They will not understand you at first," she said. "They will expect weakness, they will expect fear, but you are human. That alone will astonish them." He nodded. "Then we show them. We show them what humans can do, not through violence, not through power, but through courage and care." The first ship docked with a soft hiss. Iran and the alien moved toward the chamber entrance, prepared to meet the visitors. The ship's hatch opened, and beings of varying shapes and sizes stepped into the chamber. Their eyes widened at the sight of the glowing alien and the human standing beside her. One of them, a tall, angular creature with silvered skin, spoke in a tone that carried both authority and caution. "We detected the surge. We came expecting a human foolish enough to enter a dead station. Explain yourselves." Iran stepped forward, his voice steady despite the lingering fatigue. "You came expecting weakness. What you see is not weakness. This is humanity." He gestured toward the alien. "She was trapped here for centuries. I freed her, not because it benefited me, not because I sought reward, but because it was the right thing to do." The observers exchanged glances. Some seemed skeptical, others curious. They had never encountered a species that acted purely out of empathy. For them, every decision in the galaxy was calculated, measured, and self-serving. To witness a human act for another being's sake without hesitation was unprecedented. The alien's light shifted, bathing the observers in a warm glow. "He is telling the truth," she said. "Humans are not weak. They endure, they give. They act for others when no one else would. This human chose to pay a terrible price to help, and in doing so he has shown you the true strength of his species." Iran felt a surge of pride, but he kept his tone humble. "I am just one human, but my choice reflects what humanity is capable of. Courage, compassion, sacrifice, endurance. These are the things that define us, not weapons, not technology, not conquest." The observers were silent. They had seen countless civilizations rise and fall. They had observed species who wielded immense power, controlled planets, and built fleets capable of destroying worlds. Yet here, in this quiet station, a human had demonstrated something more profound: the ability to act morally and bravely, even when it came at personal cost. The tall observer stepped closer, its eyes narrowing. "You speak of compassion as if it is power, but what proof do we have that your actions will endure, that your species will not falter?" Iran straightened. "You don't have to take my word for it. Humanity survives not because it dominates, but because it endures. We act when it matters most. We care when it is hard. We bear costs that others refuse to bear. And that is proof enough. You are witnessing it now." The alien floated beside him, her light intertwining with his presence. "He speaks truth," she said. "You have observed countless species who value strength above all, yet none endure like humans do. None give freely, even when the outcome is uncertain. That is the difference. That is why humanity matters." The chamber was quiet, the only sounds the hum of the revived station and the soft pulse of the alien's glow. Slowly, the observers began to understand. Their eyes shifted, their postures changed. What they had expected, a weak human, a trapped alien, was gone. Instead, they saw a bond, a partnership, a demonstration of empathy and courage that surpassed calculation. One of the smaller observers, a creature with translucent skin and multiple eyes, whispered, I did not expect this. I thought humans were fragile, but what I see is strength, true strength." Iran nodded humbly. "Strength is not always measured in power or weapons. Sometimes it is measured in heart, in the choices we make when no one is watching, in the courage to act for others even when it hurts us. That is what makes humans human." The alien's light flared gently, as if approving his words. "And that is why the galaxy must learn. Humans are not weak helpers, they are not fragile or foolish. They endure, they sacrifice, they give freely. And that changes everything." The observers murmured among themselves, reassessing everything they thought they knew. A ripple of understanding spread. The human before them, small and seemingly fragile, had accomplished what no other species could. By acting with courage and empathy, he had freed an ancient being, survived a process that could have destroyed him, and demonstrated the true power of humanity. Iran felt the weight of the moment. He had paid a terrible price, yes. His body ached, his energy was depleted, and his life would never be the same. But he had also given something invaluable, proof that humans could shape the galaxy not through domination, but through compassion and courage. The tall observer spoke again, this time with a tone of respect. "Perhaps we have underestimated humans. Perhaps your species has been judged too quickly." Iran allowed himself a small, tired smile. "You don't have to judge us by what you expect. Judge us by what we do, by the choices we make, by the courage we show when it matters most." The alien floated closer to Iran, her form intertwining with his. "You have shown them, Iran, and now the galaxy will remember. Your actions, your choice, your humanity, these will be remembered far longer than any weapon or conquest." You have changed perceptions and in doing so, changed the galaxy itself. Iran's chest swelled with a mixture of exhaustion and pride. He had never sought recognition. Humans rarely did. They acted because it was right, because it was necessary, because they could. But now he understood the impact of his actions. A single human, guided by compassion, could indeed alter the course of history. The observers began to depart, each carrying the story of what they had witnessed. They would return to their home worlds, spreading the tale of a human who had acted selflessly, who had endured great personal cost, and who had freed a being thought lost to time. Slowly, the galaxy would begin to see humans in a new light, not as weak or fragile, but as resilient, courageous, and capable of great sacrifice. As the chamber emptied, leaving Iran and the alien alone once more, she spoke softly. "You have given much, Iran. The cost you paid will mark you for life, but that cost was not in vain. You have proven that humanity's greatest power is its heart." Iran nodded, feeling the exhaustion of the last days settle into his bones. "I don't regret it, not for a moment. I did what I thought was right. That is enough for me." The alien's light shimmered brighter, wrapping around him like a warm embrace. "It is more than enough. It is proof that even in a galaxy filled with power and fear, there is still hope, there is still courage, there is still humanity." Iran looked out at the stars beyond the station windows. They stretched endlessly, beautiful and indifferent. Yet, for the first time, he felt a sense of purpose that went beyond survival. He had acted not for himself, not for reward, not for glory, but because it was the right thing to do, and that simple act had changed the galaxy. He took a deep breath and allowed himself a small smile. Humans endure, humans give, humans act when it matters most. That is our power. The alien floated beside him, her glow fading to a gentle shimmer. And that power will not be forgotten. The galaxy will remember. Because of you, humans will be seen as they truly are, a species capable of courage, compassion, and greatness beyond measure. Iran sat quietly, exhausted but proud. He had paid a terrible price, yes. He had been tested in ways no human had ever faced. But he had survived, and in surviving he had demonstrated the true strength of humanity. Not through force, not through domination, but through courage, empathy, and sacrifice. And in that quiet, glowing chamber among the stars, one human had shown the galaxy what it truly meant to be human.